Yo, in a world full of pain, world full of strain, growing up my world was insane. Every day so my parents fight, but I still wanna marry life. It don't seem good, but I have to try. It hurts so bad, so I had to cry. It bugs me out, the fact that I grew so chill, became so calm. I love my dad and my mom. I swear to God, they're amazing parents. I just wish when it came to marriage.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Two Beers with Van. I'm your host, Chris Schrum, and you were just listening to the song The Way We Are by Mr. SB The Anomoly. And this is our
Yes, sir.
second interview. I'm glad to get him back on because I want to focus a little bit more on just a couple of the many things that he does. So, SB, for those who may have not seen the first episode, if you'll introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're sipping on.
Well, thank you for having me again. Pleasure. And as I said, I love your shirt. The energy
Yes,
is
man.
definitely there. So I'm SB The Anomaly. SB stands for Stealth Bomber, and SB itself is an acronym for Stealth Bomber and so on and so forth. International entertainer. And I delve, in different things. I dabble in different areas of entertainment, mostly centered around the different elements of hip hop. Rap is the main thing, being an MC. Then you have the dancing, which entails different things. You have things like popping, right? That's where I come from with that. Popping, locking, boogaloo. Then you have things like writing, being an author, motivational speaker, life coach, DJ, other things as well. But essentially, I stay in the realm of entertainment, anything with hip hop, entertainment, being an orator, things of that nature.
Okay. All right. Well, during this
And my
interview,
bad. And I'm sipping on some water and electrolytes out of my SB The Anomaly thermal cup, available on my website for purchase.
okay. All right. Well, what's the website?
It's sbtheanomaly.com.
All right.
I'm very streamlined in my approach. I don't have like different handles for different things. It's just everything is SB The Anomaly. You can Google it, you can Instagram it, TikTok it, Facebook it, website. Everything is SB The Anomaly.
Before we move on, I wish so many other artists would do that. They would make everything just basically one word or something super, super easy to find, just something easy to spell in Google. And then when it comes up, everything that you're attached to, Facebook, Instagram, things of that nature, it'll all just pop up boom, 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 boom. And a fan doesn't
Yeah,
have to go
exactly.
out searching on different platforms using different spellings to try to find the same person. Because honestly, it is terribly annoying. Terribly annoying. But
Yeah,
I mean that's
yeah.
what
I
it
mean,
is. Well, it is what it
yeah. I
is.
don't, I don't, I don't understand that concept. I mean, if you are famous enough, you can do that if you want. For me personally, I believe in consistency and continuity and just streamlining things. So I want to make it easy for anyone. My rap name, or I should say my artist name in general, is pretty long. However, once you get it right the first time, everything else just falls in place. So I absolutely agree with you.
Okay, well, one quick question on that. SB The
Mm,
Anomaly is a brand, right?
yes, correct.
So don't you think being a brand, you want to make it as easy as possible for people to reach out and consume whatever products you're putting out, right?
Correct.
So for everybody who makes it difficult for fans to find you, take a little knowledge from SB over here and
Yeah.
make things easy for people to find you.
Even the logo, it's very simple. It's S and a B and the anomaly. And it's funny, Chris, because I was looking at the logos that I was considering when I had, created the brand. And there are some really cool logos. I could show you some really dope logos. They were so cool, so dope, so much metaphorical stuff in there. But I chose this because it was the easiest one to identify. When you look at companies like McDonald's, what is it? The letter M. When you
Yeah.
look at Target, what is it? Just a bullseye, right? So it's about simplicity and brand awareness. So yeah, just to kind of piggyback on what you talked about, I agree with you.
Well, the S and B and the way you have it put together, it has a touch of elegance to it. So you could put that on a shirt and it would stand alone. You could put it on a hat, coffee mug, whatever, and it stand alone. Or you could put SB and then the anomaly up under it. And of course, that's the total logo. But you're right. It has a little nuance to it, but at the same time, you can look at it and tell. And once you see it one time and you won't forget it. So next time you see it,
Exactly.
you'll know where that t-shirt, hat, mug, you'll know where it came from. And you may want to
I
go talk
appreciate
to
that.
it. All right. Well, before we get started, I am sipping on Narragansett Lager. Right. This is the special USA 250th Anniversary Edition can. And
Oh man,
it has been quite some time since I've had Narragansett. That's the original, or that's the new. So,
that's
well,
fancy.
ah, it is. It's nice. It's nice. I like that. They're one of many, but I like the fact that they're making a can for the anniversary, and they're making, they're putting effort into it, making it real nice. So, while I'm getting this poured in a glass, how do you usually introduce yourself to someone when they ask what you do?
That's a good question. When I introduce myself to anybody, it depends on what the atmosphere is. Like if they're in a space where, they're asking me about rap, I would start off with that. I'm SB The Anomaly. I'm an MC. If it's something with DJing, hey, I'm SB The Anomaly. I'm a DJ. So I pretty much form an equilibrium with the atmosphere. But if I just meet somebody in general and they ask me, who are you? Or I'm introducing myself, I try to keep it as simple as possible. I don't want to be obnoxious and go over 1,000 different things that I do. So I'll just say something along the lines of I'm SB The Anomaly and I'm an international entertainer, and I kind of leave it at that. And then depending on why I'm sharing that information with them will determine what I'm going to talk about, what I'm going to focus on. Maybe I'll say, I rap and I DJ, or I dance and I DJ, or whatever the case is. But if it's just me and somebody, it's just us be the anomaly. But usually when there's a purpose behind, the connection or conversation, you know I'll say one thing that I do. And then as the conversation continues, I'll slowly unveil other things. But SV the anomaly is normally the core. Certain events that I do that are corporate events, if I'm meeting certain clients, I might just keep it at SB to make it simple. It just kind of depends on the flow, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But my name rhymes with itself, so it flows very easily. SB the anomaly, just kind of like smooth off the tongue, if you will.
Well, today I want to focus mostly on you being a DJ, published author, and music artist. So,
Okay.
which came first for you? DJing, making music, or what?
Music is the OG. Started doing that when I was 13. So it's been a big journey, long for sure. After that, writing kind of went hand in hand, but the idea of publishing work that happened probably, what was it, 10 years after the rhyming started. Because I published my first work when I was 23, started rhyming when I was 13. DJing came last year. It's about to be a year anniversary in about what? Not sure when this is gonna air, but from this day right now, we're about, I want to say, 24 days away, which is my favorite number, by the way. 24 days away from the anniversary, the 1 year anniversary of me beginning to be a DJ. And it's been a really fun journey for sure.
Do you DJ weekly or nightly or in a 7-day time period? How many times do you go out and DJ?
When I began, the hope was twice a month. That's what I wanted. And I would have been happy with that. Now, I mean, just over the past 4 days, I've done like 5 gigs as a DJ, from weddings to parties to corporate events to resorts. It's just been, it fluctuates. I wouldn't say nightly. I would say at this point every week I do at least 3 to 4.
Okay. Being the DJ, now I know, of course, you get paid for it, but do you do it more for the craft or do you do it for the pay as well? I mean, which one is your motivator to get out and do the DJ work?
When I began, and even to this day, it was about the craft because it's an element of hip hop. Because I know how to rap, I know how to dance, and these are 2 elements of hip hop. I don't know how to draw, unfortunately. So graffiti, which is another element, don't really have that. I mean, I could do some graffiti, but I could never do my own wall. Well, I won't say never, but I can't do that this time. I could beatbox a little bit, not enough to say I'm great at it, but DJing is something that I've always admired and I've always wanted to do it. So it gave me an opportunity to have another element of the culture. And I feel like a lot of rappers that you meet, they can just rap, which is great. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I pride myself on being multi talented, which is where the anomaly comes from in my name and brand. So absolutely full of culture and love and passion for it. I've always wanted to do it. A friend of mine named Exclu, he had kind of put the bug in my ear last year on Cinco de Mayo, which is interesting. Whole nother story in itself. We can get into that if you want. But that was Cinco
Sure.
de Mayo. And at this point, it's become a part of my income. I was just talking about this the other day that the amount of money I made this month has beat my other personal best, which was in March. So it's getting bigger, getting better, and I love it. It's really fun to create memories with people. Use music is something that's universal. We could disagree on different things, but we normally can agree on music for the most part. You put a bunch of people in a room, put some good music on, and they're gonna have a good time. So it's fun to have the ability to use frequency, use sound, and to create atmospheres that people are going to remember. Because you may forget certain things or many things in life, but the way you feel about something sticks with you. And music is very good at making you feel something. And I get to be behind the table of that.
Well, being a DJ, do you create your own beats for your personal music?
I haven't got into that because I'm scared to do that. Because if I do that, I'm not going to have a life. I'm a very busy person. I'm afraid to get into production the same way I'm afraid to get into many things. However, I have given some thought recently to, getting some pads and just kind of like messing around with it a little bit because I have my DJ, he's my producer as well. I have a bunch of producer friends. I have my cousin that's really good at it too. So I have the resources, the same way I had the resources when it came to DJing as well, to get a good understanding of it and get assistance if needed. But Yeah, I'm scared to do that because if I start doing something, the problem that I have is that I have to get good at it. So to get good at it, I'm gonna have to invest a lot of time, and I don't think I want to do that right now. I'm trying to find a balance between, work and just trying to relax. You don't want to work your whole life or do something your whole life that requires, not that it's work because it's fun to do these things, but you want to also have time for your family and your friends and have that balance, if that makes sense. So long answer
Yeah,
is no. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you
Well, that
you
was a
need
long
that
answer, but
what
the
they
short
call
answer is no.
right. Well, you need what they call a work-life balance, but for an indie artist or someone like you who is out there pushing themselves and trying to create their brand, build their brand, and I mean, you're your own ambassador. So it's full-time job. Just the arts alone is a full-time job. More
Correct.
than
And it's
more than
literally
40.
my full-time job. Yeah, I don't work a regular job, so this is my full-time job. I'm not saying it's bad to have a job and do what you do. For me, it just happens to be what I do. Rhyming, dancing, DJing, acting, speaking, teaching different things. So, it's more than just I come home and do it from 5 to 9. It's I get up, I create my day, and this is how I make, money as an artist.
So in a week, just roughly, how many hours do you spend working? And what I mean by that is even if you're just riding in the car thinking about, okay, what do I want? What's the next song I want to write? Or I got a, um, I want to start another book, and you're you're not sitting down writing stuff down, but you're thinking and you're putting effort towards your art. How many hours a week do you think you spend quote working?
I'm not good at math, Chris, but
A
what
lot.
I can tell you this. I get up like at 7 every day, just like the Undertaker, from wrestling. I just kind of wake up, I rise, and from the moment I get up to the moment I go to sleep, the majority of the day is spent on something that I do, whether you know, it's hard to say the hours, but it's more than 8 hours a day. I can tell you that for sure. It's absolutely more than 8 hours. It's not a hard thing because it's fun to do, but I guess what I can share for anyone watching is that this is not something you do part time, which let me put that in better perspective. Because if you have a job, you're going to feel like you're doing it part time because your job takes about 8 to 9 hours a day out of your life. And I know what that feels like. I did that for a while as well. You have to find that balance between what you have to do, right? Like what you have to do, what you want to do, what you need to do, right? You have to figure out what that means for you. So I can't even give you the hours, Chris, because it's a constant. Like there isn't like a thing where I'm gonna spend this a lot of time period today on this, and the rest of the day I do nothing. Like today, I thought in my brain I was gonna be able to spend 2 hours doing nothing, and it didn't work out that way. I had to send out invoices to a bunch of people, and I had to look over administrative work, and I had to think about I got a new song I have to write to that someone emailed me today. So that's a new thing I have to do. And then I had to have a conversation about a video that I have to do for one of my new songs. So I just recorded with my boy Sean that he produced. Then I have an EP that me and my boy Orange is doing, and there's like 4 videos we have to record for that. Actually, I think like 5 videos we have to record for that. So it's like it doesn't stop. Even like look at our clothing, right? The energy is here, shirt, energy is here, hoodie. There was a moment today where I thought of an idea for some merchandise. I went on my site and I looked at, how can I do this? How can I push it? What's the campaign for that? So it never really ends, man. I don't know. Isn't like an hour that I can give you. All I can tell you is that the majority of my day is spent on that. And when I'm not doing that, then my other free time is kind of divided into myself and what else I have to do in my life.
Right. So basically being a full-time artist is more than 40 hours a week. To build a brand and to build a brand properly, it's going to take way more than 40 hours a week.
Yeah. I mean, I always say that everyone's journey is different. I can never say, okay, this is the exact journey you're going to go through, time, things of that nature, because everyone is different. Some people blow up on social media on a viral video. Some people just know the right people. Some people are kind of blessed that someone's going to bring them in because they're related to a person, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't have any of that, yeah. I mean, even with that, even with all those things, actually, you're still putting in a lot of hours of work for sure. But without those things, it's even harder than that, especially if you want to live off what you do, which is the goal for most people. They want to live off what they do. They want to pay their bills doing what they love, not being subjugated to a job that you don't want to do, or you feel like it's killing your creativity, or you feel like it's draining you of your soul. So it's very strenuous and it takes a lot of work for most of us, at least, in my opinion.
Right. What connects all three of these particular creative pursuits? The published author, the music artist, and being the DJ.
Mm. I think the connection is me because it all flows through me. I am the vessel that harnesses these different attributes as a performer. So I would say, with it being me being the epicenter of it all, joy, joy is absolutely the nucleus, if you will. It's like I have fun doing this. It's a passion of mine. So it keeps me happy. It keeps me alive, meaning I'm not just existing in this shell. I'm awake and I feel good and I'm doing things that make me feel like I have purpose. And everything that I do kind of spills into one another. So I'll give you an example. The DJing, right? I DJ at senior citizen facilities. I work with the elderly, right? I do that for an hour a day for like 5 days a week, right? 4 or 5 days a week. It's very fulfilling. It's very fun. I really enjoy it. But the DJing didn't begin that. I began just working with the residents, like doing like dancing. So dancing began it, and then the DJing followed it. So what I'm trying to say to you is that almost everything I do finds a way to piggyback off the other. Like if I rap somewhere, I can probably end up DJing or dancing in the same, hemisphere, if you will. If I'm a motivational speaker over here, I can probably talk about poetry as well on my book. So it all kind of falls into one another. That's the way I've set my life up since I was a child.
Was there a moment when you realized creativity was going to be more than just a hobby?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would say the moment that I realized I was not meant to do this, but I was going to pursue this and hope it would work out was in high school. I went to three different high schools. I went to Lehman in the Bronx, and then I went to Boone and Colonial in Orlando in the same year as a senior. And when I was in Lehman, I believe I was a sophomore. We had a teacher, right? Miss Baxter or Miss Well. I believe at that point it was Mrs. Baxter. I think she goes by Miss Weston now. I'm not too sure, but she had a really cool idea. She said, "Hey, I'm gonna throw Lehman Idol, which was a playoff American Idol, and it had different things, right, that you could do. You had comedy, you had singing, you had dancing, you had rapping. So with dancing, we won. Me and the guy I was dancing with, my boy Mark, we won the dancing part. Like we did our thing. So then it got to the rapping. Got to the rapping. Actually, no, I'm bugging. We didn't win that. We won. Was the following year? I don't know, but we either won that first year or we should have won one or the other. 'Cause I remember people booing. I know we lost the first one. We won the second one, but we lost the first year. And the people that did win, they got booed off the stage. It was hilarious. Cause they deserved that. We should have won. Not trying to be ahead, but we destroyed the stage. We killed it. It was not even close. Like as soon as we came out, the whole several thousand people were screaming and yelling. They came out, did some stuff, and it was cool, but it definitely shouldn't have won, in my humble opinion. But that's neither here or there. The reaction let me know that I'm meant to dance on stage, if that makes sense. Like it was huge for my teenage brain to take in. It was from the second we came on to the second we came off. Every movement had like a huge reaction. And I've seen many talent showcases. I haven't seen many where it was like that kind of vibe. So off that, then I began the rap part of it, and it was a battle. I think there was 8 of us. I'm not too sure how many there was exactly, but I got to the finals and I won. So on the same night, I became very, very much aware of the fact that I'm good at this. I'm good at being on stage. I'm good at holding my own as a rapper, right? Or MCs, as I like to call it, because it's a difference. So if anyone watching that doesn't understand, rappers and MCs are different, but we're in the same craft, if you will, same culture. And I also realized that I can dance too. So it's like not only am I good at dancing because I had really good teachers that were teaching me stuff, right? Shout out to my mentor, Bam the Liquid Robot. But I also could rhyme because I was around really good MCs. I had a squad called Spade of Hearts, and we had my peoples Zero, Raph, Demented, Ghost, Cynic, Skittles, Ambi. And I was always around really talented people my whole life. But it was in that moment, I would believe, that night, that I was like, yeah, this is something that I really would like to do forever if I can. And then you fast forward, and now I do it, which is really cool. So that's a very long story, you would say, but yeah, just to give you some context behind the actual time that I realized this is something that I want to do. I don't know if I was meant to do it, but I definitely wanted to do it, and I hope it would work out from there. And it's
Okay.
working out pretty good.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, I think it's working out for you. So seems like it was something you were meant to do. So let's talk about the creative process along these 3 points: DJ, published author, and music artist. How does your mindset differ when you're writing a book versus writing a song?
So a song has a beat, so I have to flow in a way that sounds good because people in general don't really listen to what you're saying. But if it sounds good, they vibe with it, which is why most people don't really memorize verses. Well, not say most, but many don't really care for the verse. They care more about the chorus or the ad libs, if you will, the small moments, because it sounds catchy. So I have to make sure it sounds good, but also I have to make sure, because I'm an MC, that it is good lyric wise and flow wise and structure wise and syllable wise. Poetry is very different from me. Poetry is more me just sharing my thoughts. There's no beat, so I control the rhythm. I can slow it down whenever I want. I can stop whenever I want. I can control the stage very differently. I just recently did a performance at a really huge poetry event called Voices in Power. They have like over 2 million followers on social media. and they were in Orlando. They're coming back again in a week or so. I'll be out there again. But I had the opportunity to go up there and do my thing, and it was just really fun to just, take a moment, stop, pause, and share. So writing for a song is like a rhythm, right? Doing ba 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 da ba ba da ba ba da ba 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 da ba 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 da da ba 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 ba. Versus a poem is just me. I can just talk if I want to. I don't have to have a rhythm. It's good to have a rhythm, in my opinion, but I can just talk slow as I want, as quick as I want. There's no beat driving what I'm saying. I'm the main driver behind it.
All right. What lessons from writing have influenced your music?
Mm, man. When I first began writing, I was very much so enamored with metaphors and similes. Like every two lines had to be a punchline. Every two lines had to be like a metaphor, simile, like every two lines. When I freestyle, one of the things that make me strong at freestyle rapping, meaning, improving, is that I have the capability to pretty much freestyle about anything. And every two lines is going to be a punch. A lot of artists can't do that. A lot of artists can't freestyle, period. But the ones that can in that bracket, they can't really do that. They have a hard time doing punchlines off the head, or they have a hard time controlling how many words they need per bar, which is why you see a lot of people that freestyle curse so much because the curses fill in the gaps that they left because they didn't have enough words to complete their bar, meaning their line. So writing showed me that I don't have to have back to back metaphors or similes or anything like that. It showed me that I'm good enough just writing, just telling the story. My words have enough depth that I can just rhyme words together and that'll be enough. But that was hard for me to understand because when you're growing up in the Bronx and you're battling people and it feels like you're battling for your life, because most people that get into rap that I've met, they get into it because they heard it on the radio or they want popularity or they want whatever that comes with that, right? From what they can see on TV. I got into it because rhyming gave me an identity. It gave me a voice. It literally gave me a voice. And it also helped me with my breath control, was helped me with my stuttering that I still do to this day. So for me, rhyming was a lot bigger than just putting words together. So when I would battle somebody, if I lost, which very, very, very rarely happened, but if I lost, it was like my world was coming to an end. So I couldn't afford to lose. So to avoid losing, it was just back to back punches, punchline, metaphor, simile, wordplay, pun. It was like back to back to back to back. Because if you didn't catch the first one, you get the second one. You didn't get the second one, you'll catch the third one. If you didn't catch the third one, you'll catch the fourth one. So to come out of that mindset was very strenuous because it's like, nah, if I don't do this, they're gonna hate what I'm talking about. And then eventually I realized I don't have to do that. I'm good enough to just rhyme and people will still enjoy it. And writing was a big, big thing for me. That people tattooing my lyrics was huge. That was a big reason why I realized I don't have to do a lot of metaphors and similes because people are tattooing my lyrics on their body.
Yeah, tell us, for those that missed it in the first interview, tell us about that story real quick.
Yeah. So when I was 22, 21, 22, a friend of mine named JD, she had tattooed one of my quotes on her back. I didn't even realize that she did it. She showed it to me at Tijuana Flats, and I was like, "Oh, that looks cool." And she's like, "No, you idiot! Like, look at the words." And I'm reading like, yeah, I see the words. It's really cool. And she was like, "No, these are your words. You wrote this." I was like, "Oh wow, okay." It didn't even dawn on me that somebody would tattoo my lyrics. Like, why would you do that, right? I'm not that big of a deal. But she did it. And I feel like that was a catalyst for the next like 22 or 23 people that ended up tattooing my lyrics as well. So by the time I turned 23, I have over 20 people who are tattooing my lyrics. And I'm not a tattoo artist because people always get that confused for some reason. I'm saying that people were tattooing my words, whether it was pulling a song lyric by asking for their own custom quote for the situation or their life. And then that also is what made me realize that I could put a book out. Because if they're gonna tattoo my lyrics, they'll probably read my words as well.
Where do your best ideas usually come from?
Pain. Always pain for the most part. Sometimes it's joy, but pain is a great teacher. One of my favorite quotes that I written personally is your adversity becomes your university. Pain is a very, very good teacher.
Yeah.
Time is a very good healer. And pain has put me in a position to become what I would argue to be the best version of myself over and over again. However, I want to be clear because most people say this and I don't say this. I can't create something when I'm hurting. Like a lot of artists say, when I'm hurting, I make my best work. No, I have to endure it, embrace it, understand it, internalize it, get over it, and then I revisit it mentally and emotionally and create from the memory of the pain. I can't create stuff when I'm hurting. I have to just take it in, and that's a flaw of mine. But I don't think that's a good thing. But that's how I am. I feel like everybody always says, when I'm going through a lot, man, so I'm gonna write my best stuff. I don't operate like that. If I'm hurting, I gotta feel it as a person. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't have a way to distract myself from it. I just feel it, take it in, let it be what it is, understand it, master it, if you will. And then I find a way to transfigurate that into art after the fact.
Okay. What's something about your creative process that would surprise people?
I think that's one of them. The other one would be I create most of my lyrics while driving. Most of my songs are written while I'm in the car driving. And it's funny because, people are like, oh man, you gotta be careful driving. You can't text and drive. I mean, yeah, for sure. I completely agree with you. I just personally write better in the car. But I also realized, Chris, that I think the reason I write most of my stuff in the car, actually, let me take away the word think. I know that the reason I write most of my material in my car while I'm driving is because that is usually when I'm free to write. I'm extremely busy with so many things, and that's why I think it's always interesting when somebody compares me to another rapper, another MC. It's like I don't really see the comparison because if all I did was focus on rapping, then yeah, maybe. But I'm proficient and exceptional not only in rapping, but in 9 to 10 other things. So you can't really compare me to a rapper because you're just good at that, which is great. But I'm good at multiple things. Let's see how well you can dance. Let's see how well you can DJ. Let's see how well you can speak to a crowd without rhyming. Let's see how well you can teach things. Let's see how well you can defend yourself. I've been in martial arts almost my whole life. Let's see how well you can, act and create scripts. And, I'm in my own little dimension. I'm an anomaly. I'm in my own lane. Like, don't compare me to anybody. I'm the only thing or person that I could think I could be compared to would probably be like a childish Gambino because he's super talented in different things, right? He does comedy, acting, writing, rhyme. He's a super amazing individual as an artist. I don't know him personally, but he's like super gifted in so many different things. But outside of someone like that, there really isn't a comparison in my in my opinion. I've come to realize that in the recent, months.
Okay. Well, let's drill down a little bit on the DJing part. What separates a good DJ from a great DJ?
Mm. So you want to know what separates those two?
Yeah.
Man. So I'm gonna answer this question more of a fan than a DJ because I've only been DJing for a year. I've had very good people around me who've been DJing for decades guide me, so I didn't do it by myself. However, I believe that there's different parts to it, the same way there's different parts to rapping or dancing or whatever the case is. So when you DJ, you have the craft, right? You have someone who can mix music, who can go from this song to this song in a fluid manner. It's cohesive, it has continuity, it sounds good to the ear. You also have things like scratching. That's another skill set, right? Now, do you have to be able to scratch? No, not really. But in my opinion, a great DJ can scratch, right? I think that's a really cool thing to do. The same way I think freestyle rapping is a really cool thing to do. But do you have to be able to freestyle to be a good MC? No, probably not. You could just write and be amazing at it. But I feel like scratching is another cool thing. Now, if you're asking me though, what makes a good versus great DJ in terms of events, right? Or getting booked, I can answer that better for you and I can be more direct. So when it comes to an event, a good DJ will play good music and keep the party going. They're really good at reading the crowd. They're really good at understanding, the atmosphere, and they'll play really good music and they'll play stuff that appeals to the atmosphere. They can read the body language of everybody around and they're just locked in. A great DJ, in my opinion, is someone who can grab the microphone and not only be the music, but also be the voice. They can control the crowd. They can, shift the moods at will. They're very interactive. You're not just doing the music, you're also the host of the event. You're curating the atmosphere, both musically and verbally. I've met a lot of DJs who don't ever talk on the microphone. They just the music, which is dope. Nothing wrong with that. But I feel like a great DJ is beyond the music. Like they are the center of the energy, right? The energy is here, no pun intended. They create everything. They're speaking, they're talking, they're engaging. If people aren't dancing, they're saying something to make them feel better. If someone is dancing, they're bigging them up. While doing that simultaneously, they're mixing music. While doing that simultaneously, they're taking requests and they're finding a way to put that request in there because a DJ is someone who appeals to the people. Your job as the DJ is to work for the people. You are serving the crowd. If you just play what you think is good, you can be great at what you're doing. It can sound good, but do they want to hear that? If I'm doing an event and no one's dancing, I have to fix that. I just can't keep playing good music. I have to look at them and say, okay, they're not dancing, so I'm doing something wrong. So I have to figure out what that is. Is it the music? Is it the lack of conversation? Is it the speed of the music, the BPMs, right? The beats per minute. Is it too fast? Is it too slow? And am I playing the songs that are being requested at the wrong time? Like if you give me a playlist for your party, there's a time and place to play certain songs. If there's a really big song, I'm not gonna play that song in the very beginning. I'm gonna play it when it makes sense to play it because it has to go with the vibe. If you want to make sure that people book you again, you also have to have business sense. You have to have professionalism, right? I think from that perspective, to make it simple, a good DJ can put a playlist together and do his thing with the music. Great DJ is interactive, engaging. He is bringing the people into his world and he's also going into their world. And there's a middle ground where they both meet and everybody wins. you got to hear really cool music, but you also feel like we're connected. Like I spoke to you. Like I didn't just, ignore you the whole night. I saw you getting down. I saw you dancing. I said, yo, my man right there, with the Jordans on is killing it. Homegirl right there, is getting down with the salsa. There's a different element, and you're not just hiding behind the table. You are the party in a physical form.
So you're
And
saying,
that's my TED talk on that.
so you're saying a great DJ is an entertainer.
Yeah,
You're not
exactly.
only working the craft of the music, but you're engaging, entertaining, and it's almost like two separate things going on at the same time, but they work interchangeably.
Exactly. So that's the short answer of what I said. You paraphrase it perfectly. You're an entertainer, and I explain what that means, versus you just playing the music. Because if you're just gonna play the music, Chris, they can easily go on Apple Music and look up a playlist
Right.
and hit play. And Apple Music will DJ the song from the song is ending into the new song. It does that now. There's AI that does that now. Yeah, there's AI that does that in programs for DJs, people that Bluetooth or do certain, controls for DJing. I have a friend that does that. Or in Apple Music, you have a playlist, there's a feature, right? You hit play, and it will, at the end of the song, you will hear the new song slowly kicking in, and it will figure out the BPM. Sometimes it sounds weird because, obviously it has to match, right? And they don't list music according to BPM or keys, because you have BPM and the key of the song, right? Those two things matter sonically. You don't have to always mix in key, but mixing in key ensures that it's going to sound good, or it should sound good. But then you have to also take into account the energy level of the song, which is a whole nother conversation. But the point is that if all you're going to do is mix from song to song, then I can just go on an Apple playlist, hit play, put the songs I want to hear, put it in a speaker, and that's it. I don't need you to DJ, unless it's for the visual aesthetic of it. But that's not gonna do anything different from Apple Music.
What's the most memorable set that you've played so far?
Most memorable? Uh, it's been a good amount. I would say, mm, it's kind of hard to pick one, honestly. If I had to pick one, I would say a wedding that I did in downtown Orlando at a venue called a Balcony. I picked up a wedding gig literally on my birthday, actually. Like, it was on my birthday. And a good friend of mine, her name is Haley, super dope individual, very talented, young lady, amazing martial artist. She also a stunt woman and actress, super cool. She had reached out and she was like, "Hey, I need a DJ." Ended up DJing for her event, and the crowd was super cool. Great energy, great atmosphere. One of my favorite videos on my social media is the ending of her wedding, where her husband and the people in the crowd were all just like showing love at the end, right? And I got that recorded, and the energy is just so pure and positive. And it was like, this is why I like doing this. This is beyond just respecting the element of hip hop, of DJing, because I love watching people DJ. I love watching people scratch, transition, the wordplay. Like DJs are so cool to me. And it goes beyond that. Me having the opportunity to create that kind of atmosphere. Think of it like this. A DJ is kind of like having the aux. You have the aux cord, right? You're plugging in your phone into the aux of a car, except you have a lot of cool tools to make the music, mix and stuff. And me being able to do that is amazing to me. Because I used to get booked, Chris, to DJ house parties on a laptop with YouTube. I would literally have 3 to 4 YouTube tabs open, and I would do like ghetto DJing from YouTube tab to YouTube tab. And what's crazy about that, Chris, is that people heard me do that and they're like, yo, you're amazing. Yo, do you have a card? No, I don't. I'm not a DJ. I'm using YouTube. I'm not a DJ. But the principle of going from one song to the next, I would take the song, I would fade it down, put the volume up, fade the other one down, bring the other one in without looking at BPMs, without having keys, just hearing with my ear, this sounds good with that. Just knowing that off my own mind, which I just realized that right now as I was saying it to you out loud. I was really good at that. So to be able to do it correctly, well, actually, let me take that back because in my opinion, I'm not a real DJ because I don't do vinyl yet. I think the vinyl DJs who have the crates, I think those guys are like the real DJs in my opinion. But for this time period that we're in, because most of those guys also use what I'm using now, right? Controllers, laptops, USB. For my time period, I'm just grateful that I can not only do this under the mentorship of people that have helped me out so much, but also the fact that I can be a part of people's weddings, birthdays, celebrations, award ceremonies, retirement parties, surprise birthdays. Someone just proposed to their girl during my DJ set the other night. That was the first time that happened. And I had no idea that was gonna happen. He just came up to me. He was like, "Yo, I need the microphone." I was like, "Sure, here you go." And then he just started talking. And he got down on one knee, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is really happening right now." I'm like, I'm DJing. This guy's proposing. That was the first time that happened. So actually, that actually might be the most memorable moment because that was the first time that happened. I was like, wow, I got to hand him the microphone that he used to propose to his girl. You know, they're never gonna forget that night, not because of my music, but because of the fact that they had that moment while I was there. So yeah, it's been a really cool journey.
Tell me she said yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Okay.
had been together for like I think they were together for like 7 years at that point. So it was like, yeah, I think it's time to I think it's time. I mean, I believe it was 7 years because they kept saying that number out loud. But yeah, they were great, super good energy, beautiful people, super nice to us, and it was a dope vibe, man. I had a really good time being a part of that. And again, DJ may not be my main thing, but it's one way that I make money pretty frequently these days, and it's also fun. I can't imagine myself having a regular job. Like, I can't imagine myself stopping this and then clocking into a job to just do whatever I'm doing, even if I love what I'm doing in the job world, because 'cause I'm good at different things that I could apply in the corporate world, but I would rather just do this. I'd rather get up, send invoices, be on calls, meetings, rap here, DJ there, things like that. I feel like anyone that loves music would love being a DJ if they just took the time to do it. And a lot of people, Chris, are began to DJ because of me. They're like, "Yo, I've been watching you from the beginning. I see how much you've done in this past, year or so, and you've inspired me to DJ." And that makes me happy. So I always teach people how to DJ that I know personally. If they want to learn how to DJ, I always offer to teach them because that's my way of paying it forward. Because if my boy didn't say, "Hey, you should DJ from a company," I would have never did it. Because it could be expensive. You're buying a new laptop, you're buying a controller. Those could be up to over $3,000. You're buying hard drives, you're buying speakers, you're buying the dolly for it. You're getting the DJ insurance. I mean, there's a lot that goes into being a mobile DJ. Just I very rarely just go to a place with a laptop and plug in. I have to bring the speakers, the setup, all of it. And I would have never done that if my friend didn't say, "Hey, man, you should DJ." That was the seed that, blossomed to what I'm doing right now.
What is one misconception people have about DJs?
One misconception that people have, that we are responsible for everything that happens music wise in the event. I mean, we are, but we're not. So, if I go to an event and they didn't tell me that they were going to, I don't know, have a special kind of projector for some show, if they didn't tell me about that, I may not have what they need to get that working. So I have to figure out a solution. Maybe it's me, like if the audio is messed up, maybe I have to give them a wireless microphone so they can put it next to that. Maybe I have to find a different way to get the audio to in sync with the video. Like everybody assumes if you're the DJ that anything that happens is your fault. That's why a lot of DJs who are like really good at this stuff, who've been doing it way longer than I have, they're everything. They're sound engineers. They know about lighting. They know about all type of stuff because they have to resolve any and all concerns that happens in an audible fashion in the atmosphere. You know, like if you give me a song to play and your song isn't mastered correctly and you're performing, I have to go in there and mess with some knobs or go to my mixer and make sure that your song sounds good. And if it doesn't sound good, you'll get mad at me. Or if your song isn't playing, you'll get mad at me. It's not me. This is professional equipment. You are the problem. But because I have the equipment, I'm the one that's perceived to be the issue.
Let's turn it a little bit and go towards the music artist questions. Do you create music primarily for you or for your fans?
For me. For me, most of the time. But there are times where I'm like, the people need to hear a song like this. That I feel like I'm so connected to people that like what I write that I feel like we're doing it for each other because I recently made a song called The Way that I'm gonna be doing a video for. And it's about the world and why I feel the world is the way it is and why I feel people are the way they are. And it's like almost 3 minutes of me just rhyming from beginning to finish. No chorus. But I wrote that because I feel like people need to hear that right now. So that was for people. It's also for me as well. So I can't say I don't ever write for people because I do. But what I will tell you is that I have turned down several opportunities from labels who wanted me to write about drugs or talk about certain things that don't mesh with my spirit. I look a certain way. So since I was a teenager, it's like, yo, you could really sell. I can market you like this. I can market you like that. No. So in that regard, no, I don't just put things out that I know people listen to these days. It's not really my thing. I would rather do what I want to do. So what I want to do has gotten me pretty, pretty far. I mean, I just did a collaboration on this track produced by my boy J Mob, and to myself, it is an artist named Nemesis, a female MC, and an artist named Craig G. Now, for anyone that doesn't know who Craig G is, Craig G wrote lyrics for the movie 8 Mile, Eminem's movie. Everybody knows that movie. But he's the guy that wrote the lyrics for the people in the battles that are going against Eminem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have a collaboration with that guy, and that didn't come from me putting money into anything or anything like that. It came from me being who I am and people believing in me, people respecting me, and me having a mutual respect for them as well. And you know, I would rather have the songs and the tours and the opportunities that I have being who I am. Because if I ever have kids, I don't have any kids, but if I had a kid, I don't want my kid to hear my music and be like, "Oh, like, what is this? Like, this is what you're talking about." And then I'm like, "Oh no, it's just entertainment, you know, it's just for the people." That's so garbage to me. You know what I mean? Like I feel like anyone that does that is weird. Like, you're not true to yourself. You're not giving to the culture. You're taking from the culture. You're literally milking the culture because you know that people want to hear this auto tune or this particular flow that almost everybody recycles over and over again these days, or you're using methods that you're seeing work, so you're following the blueprint, which is perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. It's just me personally. If I'm gonna put something out, it's me. It's my words, and they echo into eternity. So they need to always be me. And it can't be, oh, I didn't mean to say that, or that's not what it's about. No, you know what you're saying. You just want to say that because you know people like to hear that. So you're taking the easy way out. And if you notice, a lot of people that come out these days, they don't last very long. They come out, have some cool music, which is awesome, and then, you know, they go back in the shadows and they go touring, and that's how they live the rest of their career, right? There's no longevity in that. The people that have been around for a while, most of them have a more individual, you know, approach to how they're doing things. It's not just a carbon copy of what everybody else does.
Well, you say your creativity comes from pain, and you say that you write music for you. So, would you say your music heals you by writing
Yeah.
it and by sharing it with the world?
Yeah, when you release it, when you release it and you get it out of your system, you are letting it go. You're not allowing it to have a hold on you anymore. You are putting it out there. You're not ashamed of it. And you're also inspiring people who are going through the same thing, but they may not have the same voice that you have to express it on your platform, or they may not feel as comfortable as you are sharing something so painful. A lot of us are more alike than we care to admit. You know, we can have different color skin, different perspectives, but uh, we all go through heartbreak. Most of us go through financial strife at times. Many of us, you know, have endured stuff at home, whether it's single parent homes or watching your parents fight. There's so many things that we have in common, and we just choose to not look at it. But when it comes to music or when it comes to art, again, it's a universal language. It's amazing how so many strangers in one room can all feel the same way about a pain or a struggle or anything of that nature. So yes, by creating art, and we look at the word heart, can't spell heart without the word art. You know, when you put that out there, you're not exposing yourself, but you're showing that I'm bigger than this pain. I'm not allowing this struggle to put me in a place of subjugation. I'm above it. I'm releasing it. It's no longer a burden to me. Again, your adversity becomes a university. And then when you do that, you inspire other people to share things. Like in the movie Coach Carter, when he's talking about what is your deepest fear. It's my favorite part of the movie. You know, you unconsciously give other people permission to do the same as they're liberated from their own fears, right? Your presence automatically liberates others. So when you put things out, what you're doing is you're freeing people and simultaneously freeing yourself. It's a win-win.
So, which one of your songs would you say has the most healing power?
Definitely the one that's in the beginning of this interview and the last. I have a bunch of music that I could have given you, but way we are talking about my childhood, talking about things I saw, talking about things that could have, but did break me for sure. I just picked up the pieces that were broken and put it back together. I don't think people realize how difficult it was for me to go from what I was to who I am. And that's why I always tell people I don't like when someone tells me I'm a natural. I hate that. And I know that people mean well. When people tell you, oh, you're a natural at whatever it is, DJing, rapping, writing, dancing, acting, whatever they are complimenting. What they're trying to tell me is that, what I think they're trying to tell me is that, hey, I think you're very good at this and you make it look easy, which is a huge compliment. However, when you do that, you are inadvertently downplaying the many years, months, weeks, days, hours, minutes, seconds that I have put into making this person that you are just seeing for the first time or you're just interacting with now. You see the show, but you don't see the setup for the show. It was not easy. It was not easy going from someone who was great at martial arts in terms of competing. I used to compete all the time and win almost every time. Fighting. Forms, I wasn't that really good at because I didn't have fancy forms to go against people that were flipping around. I could flip now, but I didn't flip back then. But fighting, sparring, I was really good at that. If I would have known about things at the UFC at that age, if that was the thing, I probably would have went to the UFC. I would have, well, that couldn't have happened because I hurt my knee, which led to the music and everything else that I do. But in my brain, I would have said I'm going to go to the UFC to fight because I was really good at fighting. I can still fight, pretty proficient, but I was competing. I don't compete like that anymore. So to go from I'm gonna do martial arts and sports because I have scholarships for the sports as well. To go from that to now I'm rapping and dancing, that was a really weird crossover. I didn't look the part, I didn't sound the part, I didn't have any rhythm. If you would have told the younger version of me, hey man, you're gonna be touring around the world, you're gonna be making music with artists that you listen to, talking to them, you're gonna be, you know, having phone conversations with people that you look up to. I, I'm a big believer and I'm a big dreamer, but I don't think I would have processed that. I don't know. What are you talking about? What does that mean? You know,
Yeah.
even like, even in my personal life, I'm connected to the Bronx in a crazy way, Chris. So check this out. I'm sure you're familiar to some degree, but you may not know this. So I'm from the Bronx. That's the mecca of hip hop, right? That's the home of hip hop. Growing up as an MC, I looked up to KRS-One. And growing up as an MC who was Latin, I looked up to Big Pun. Let's fast forward. My DJ is K Prime, the Jaeger. K Prime's father is KRS-One. My goddaughter, who is Prime's daughter, is the granddaughter of KRS-One. That's insane to me. I have music with KRS. I've toured with them. I've been on stage a bunch of times. I have video of him shouting me out as a dope MC. It's insane. Pure insanity. And going back to Big Pun, and I don't think I've talked about this in an interview before. My fiance is Big Pun's niece.
Okay.
So the fact that I'm connected to these two individuals is insanity because they're both legends of the hip hop. Legends of hip hop. They are bronze legends as well. And they are two people I looked up to. So my whole life has been a movie. It's insane. Truly insane. I forget about this sometimes, but it just hit me right now. It's crazy. Rest in peace to Big Pun. And it's just My life was very interesting from starting to current day, and I can't even fathom what's gonna happen a year from now, 5 years from now. Like, my life is constantly changing. Like, if you don't talk to me for 3 months, you miss a lot. A lot happens in 3 months in my life. So, all that rambling to say, that song means a lot because that little boy would have never believed 85% of what's happening today, if anything at all.
So your life as a movie, do you think it would be entertaining for an audience?
Yeah. If I get, well, words are powerful. When I get known enough, yeah, my life would be a movie that people will go watch because they can identify with struggle, they can identify with being lost, they can identify with not knowing where to go, they can identify with rock bottom, and people can identify with finding purpose because we all want to find purpose. That's why one of my favorite movies is Soul. So the whole movie is about finding your spark, finding your purpose.
All right. Let's switch gears and let's talk about you being an author. What inspired
Yeah.
you to write your first book?
I would say the tattoos, people tattooing my lyrics, and my friend JD, who felt that I had what it took to be an author. We had good conversations about it. We used to meet at Tijuana Flats and eat and just talk about life and talk about writing and poetry and stuff. And we would be there for hours and we just talk about different things. And it was conversations with her coupled with the fact that people were tattooing my lyrics, men and women, and also the reaction that my rhyming and poetry would get when I'd perform. It made me feel like, okay, I'm good with my words. I'm good with writing. Even with motivational speaking, I was doing that from age like 19. I started doing that with a group called Giant Thinking. Shout out to, you know, my man Hassan, who helped me a lot, and my dance teacher, Ben the Liquid Robot, for putting me in that with the bartenders, Giant Thinking. And I just felt like, and again, like I was saying earlier, Chris, I realized that I didn't need a lot of metaphors and similes for people to like what I was talking about. So all those elements played a huge role in saying, you know what, let's make a book. Let's see what happens.
What's the hardest part about getting published as a indie artist or someone who is trying to build their own brand that doesn't have some sort of contract?
I would say self doubt. I think self doubt is probably the biggest killer of most dreams. I feel like most people have amazing ideas, but they don't have the drive and self belief to bring those ideas to life, whether it's because they doubt themselves or somebody else in their circle doubts them. Because even if other people say, you can do it, man, you'll be great. If you don't decide that you're going to do it, that you can do it, which sounds very simple, right? But it's not. There's a million reasons why you shouldn't do something that you will create in your mind. So when you can get over that hill, great things will happen. So I would say self doubt is probably the biggest one.
What did writing a book teach you about yourself?
It showed me another example, a big example that I can do whatever I want. Truly believe that. I think that's my gift. I can do whatever I want. If I really want to do something, If I really want to make it happen, I will find the way to make it happen, which we all can do that. I just know I can do it for a fact because I've done it multiple times in different areas. It also showed me that, as I said earlier, I don't have to go crazy with metaphors and similes and freestyles or music. I can just rhyme. I can just put words together and people will appreciate that. And that was very difficult for my brain to let go of and understand because I came from the world of battling, rap battles. Like I was making money as a 15-year-old battling, and I was living alone in New York. So living alone in New York, my family was helping me out when they were in Florida, which is a huge reason I was able to be there in the first place. However, I wasn't gonna sell drugs, so the only other way to make things happen was to make money on the side, and I chose rapping and dancing for that. So when I used to battle people, it wasn't like I was battling for respect only. I was battling because if I lost a battle, that would kill my morale. And that's the difference, right? Like I wasn't rapping to be cool. I was rapping because it gave me purpose. It made me want to live, made me want to have life when I felt like I didn't want to live anymore, when I lost a lot of stuff after my knee injury. Which is really weird to say that out loud because I was so young and my thoughts were so deep and everything felt so like, conclusive. And it was like, this is it. My life is over. And I'm just a teenager, which is so crazy in retrospect. But yeah, rhyming was a big deal, man.
Was it?
It's like,
Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, like, I'm such a calm person. I'm such a easygoing person. Like even today I went to a facility for these senior citizens for the first time, for the second time really, but people that were there saw me for the first time today. And after we had like a session that I did with them, this one lady goes, "Man, you walked in here so quiet. You were so calm and soft spoken, and then the music came on and you became a different person. Like it's so shocking." Like, yeah, that's what I've been my whole life. You would never think that. But rhyming, you know, battling was a thing, Chris. It was not a game back then. Like I see teenagers now rapping, they're not the same. At least not out here. Where I'm at in Florida. Maybe in New York it's still the same. Maybe in other places it's like that still. But when I was a kid, I have memories of battling adults twice my age, three times my age. And it was like a little me being a child, 14, 13, 15, 16. And I'm going back and forth with these adults and I'm murdering them, man, like destroying them. And it was I didn't realize how big of a deal that was because to me it was like I didn't matter how old you were. You're just a person. Your age is not relevant to me whatsoever. Me murdering you, with rhyming is the same thing as me murdering someone my age, but it wasn't. It really wasn't. It was really impressive that me and my friends were able to do that so effectively. And we were just starting out, but we were already more advanced at that age. I have videos of us as teenagers, and those teenagers will destroy a lot of people that think they can rhyme because things are so different now. That's a whole nother conversation, another subject matter.
All right. Was there a chapter or a section of your book that was really difficult to write?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. There's poems in there that are about me talking very loudly in reference to insecurities and things I'm not good at and things I had to come to terms with. But it wasn't hard to talk about that. I've never been a person that has a hard time expressing pain. I feel like a good amount of people I meet aren't good at talking about their feelings or their pain. It's not really ever been my thing. For me, I more so just need to put them in a way that people can digest because it's not really about the content, it's how you deliver the content. So let me give you an example. I judge a lot of competitions for rappers and singers. I've been doing this for years, right? I did one 3 weeks ago. I'm doing another one in July. And I always make sure to give information to the people who care to listen because people sometimes have a lot of ego, which is understandable. Nothing wrong with that. Just a problem when it blocks your growth. And I always tell people if I say I don't like your song and your song is about your life, right? Your actual struggles. I'm not saying, Chris, that your struggles are bad and your life sucks. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the way you delivered the story could have been different, could have been better, in my opinion, because it's all opinion. You know, people need to get off this high horse that's like, if they say something, that's what it is. No. Everything I'm saying about skill level and things like that, these are all opinions. No one has to agree with them. I'm not the alpha and omega when it comes to music or art or dancing or anything like that. So I always tell people this is just my opinion. You can take it, you cannot take it. I try to deliver information in a very positive manner because people are people and you have to understand that. You just can't say whatever you want to say. I mean, you could, but does a message get across? Probably not. And if the message doesn't get across, then what was the point of you talking? That's kind of my opinion on that. So I try to say things in a way that's digestible. And, you know, you can have an amazing story to tell, but not tell it correctly. So what I'm saying is that writing about my thoughts and feelings and pain wasn't hard to do. Like the subject matter wasn't an issue, but conveying it in a way that people read it and go, okay, I can keep reading because it's not hard to follow. That was a little of a challenge for sure. Because I'm very big on that. I'll spend hours sometimes just for 3 words because I need those 3 or 4 words to be written in a way that makes sense. One line can take a whole day sometimes.
So you say your music heals you. Writing this book and putting that amount of effort into each page of the book, would you say that that heals you as well?
Yeah, because you're allowing your pain to be someone else's gain. Like, hey, I went through this. I'm going to give you the shortcut to get away from it so you don't have to go through it. So I'm not going to be selfish and say, I had to figure this out. So now you figure it out. Even though we all have to figure out things on our own, regardless, no matter how much advice you give somebody. But I am okay with saying, hey, I went through this. So let me tell you what I went through. And maybe you can learn from my mistake because that's the difference between a smart person and a wise person. A smart person learns from their own, mistakes. A wise person looks at somebody else and goes, I don't like that. I don't want to go through that. And they don't go through it because they can look at it and go, okay, that doesn't like that looks very bad. So I'm going to avoid that altogether. That's wisdom. So I'm hoping that sharing pain that I've experienced can create wisdom in others. They can see it and go, I don't want to go through that. Whether it's financial, emotional, relationships, something about artistry, career, business, whatever the case may or may not be, or just me being a person and not doing the right thing as a person.
What is the best reaction you've gotten so far from the book, or what is the greatest comment you've gotten so far?
Just the fact that people tattoo my lyrics, I don't think there's anything more powerful than that. Just the fact that people have my initials on their skin, SB, like quote, no line by SB. That's huge. Like if I ever change my name, that'd be hilarious, right? Because they have my old name on their skin, but I'm never gonna change my name. But the fact that my name and my lyrics are on the bodies of people until they decide to cover it up or whatever the case is, to me, that's the biggest.
If a reader could take only one message away from the book, when they finally have finished it and close it and set it down, what message would that be? What message would you want them to get from the book?
I want them to know that it gets better as long as you don't give up. Gets better. That's the simplest way I can put it without going into a whole thing. It gets better. As simple as that sounds, sometimes people don't understand that. They don't believe that. And they make decisions that are final. And it's very difficult to bear witness to that. And I've seen that a few times. So it gets better.
All right. Well, I know we've gone a little bit longer than we talked about earlier, but I would just like to touch again on brand building since you've done
Yeah.
such a good job building your own brand by yourself and maintaining it and being able to take that brand and turn it into basically your career at this point. What do emerging artists misunderstand about building a brand?
That's a very good question. Hopefully you make this a clip because people need to hear this. Artists forget that when you sell, because you're selling, that's all it is. You sell the company, you sell the product, but most importantly, you sell yourself. You are the brand, and the work doesn't sell itself. People have to want to work with you. So the way you speak to people matters. The way you carry yourself matters. To be more specific, what you choose to write on the internet is immortal. It doesn't ever go away, it's forever. So when you put things out there, people may not comment, they may not react to it, but they're watching. That's why you see your videos get thousands of views, but you probably get like 20 reactions, 50 reactions, 100 reactions, right? But you got thousands of views. That means there are potentially thousands of people that are not only watching what you put out, but also, and here's the kicker, also watching how you respond to comments. And people, for some reason, don't understand that how you carry yourself in person and on the internet can be a huge, huge game changer. There are people and companies that have booked me for rapping, dancing, DJing, speaking, all type of stuff because they saw something I posted on the internet or they liked the way I carry myself in conversation. There are people who work with me exclusively because of the fact that they like me and I just happen to be good at things, right? They feel like I'm good at things. So it's like a win-win. We like the guy and he can get the job done. So let's work with him. You are your brand. The camera is always on. I think that's another big one too. The camera's always on. You asked me about brand, well, there you go. The camera's always on. The camera is always on, meaning you just can't be the person that you're trying to portray when the camera's on you. When that camera's off, how you talk to everybody from the person that opens the door to the assistant to the manager to the fan to the other artist to the person you thought was nobody, but they're like a really big investor and you had no idea because you looked at their clothing and they didn't look like they had money. Everybody matters, right? It's like that old cliche, like the way you talk to the waiter or the waitress has to be the same energy as the person in front of you at the table. You can't disrespect the waiter or the waitress and then be nice to the person in front of you that you're trying to date or you're having a meeting with. Every single interaction that you have with humanity on the internet and in person is quintessential to how your brand will be perceived. Because if it was all about your art, people would have no problem playing music from an artist who's on trial or in jail. Clearly, that's not the case, no pun intended. If you do something weird, brands cut you off. Look at what happened to Kanye West. I mean, Kanye is a genius, right, when it comes to music, but he said some things that people didn't like, and good things did not follow. Like at R. Kelly, he did some things, got arrested, and now playing R. Kelly's music is like a thing now, right? No matter how great the music is, because he's has great music and has written for many people, doesn't matter. Look at P. Diddy, right? Look at Puff Daddy. Again, another great music creator, but look at what's going on. So now it's awkward to play his stuff. So who you are as a person is very important because that is your brand.
Well, do you think indie artists are under way too much pressure to create constantly to build a brand?
Yeah, I feel like, and when I guess that's subjective, but in my opinion, yeah. Give you a simple example. In my young brain, when I was first rapping years ago, if you would have told me I was gonna have a song with KRS-One, I would say I could do that song and I could die happy. You know what I mean? Like that's all I gotta do. I have a song with who? He said my name on the track. What? I'm on the chorus too. That's a mic drop. That's all I need. You can't tell me anything. But yeah, here we are. Like years later, it's like no, that's not enough. I gotta do more. I gotta do more. It feels like I have to keep doing more, and it's very exhausting because I didn't sign up for social media. When I began as an artist, I got into it because I like creating art. Nowhere in that equation did I say I want to post on social media, that I want to make videos, that I want to put out captions, that I want to do hashtags, that I want to go back and forth. That I no. Yes, it is very exhausting. And a lot of artists give up because you're not making money from what you love to do. Let me rephrase that. You're not making enough money to cover your bills. You put a kid into the equation, you have a relationship. So now what happens is they give up because why would I keep investing in something that's not giving me a return? I can't pay bills with a rap verse. I can't call, the light company, electric company, but hey, how much is the bill? Yo, I got you. And spit a 16, and all right, we good? Everything cool? Click. No, it doesn't work that way. I have to have money. So when you get to your 30s, or I mean, actually, a lot of people get put into the world at an early age. So it's like once you start getting bills, if your art isn't bringing you enough money, people will fall back from their art. And it is heartbreaking to see amazing people that are so talented do that because they should feel comfortable enough to be able to keep doing it. But dude, it's like you got to put content out. You got to keep posting over and over again. You got to, go to work. You got to be a boyfriend or a girlfriend, husband or wife, mother or father. You got to, there's so many things we have to do in a day that at some point in this, and I've gone through this as well in the past, you just want to give up because it's like, why am I doing this anymore? Like, yeah, I love doing it, but now it doesn't feel fun anymore. Here's the thing right here, Chris. It doesn't feel fun anymore when it requires money. Like now that I need to make money and I'm doing it to make money, it doesn't feel fun anymore. You know,
Yeah.
that happens to a lot of people. That it's very heart wrenching when it's like, I love to do whatever the art is, but now it's a business. Before I could just write lyrics all day and it didn't matter, right? But now I have to write a hit. I gotta make a song that's gonna go viral. I gotta do a video that's gonna get a lot of likes. now the joy can potentially be taken away because now it isn't the same thing anymore. You just did it for fun before, but now you're doing it for funds. Very big difference between those two ideologies. And I think that with social media and the constant need to have to like show people that you're doing great and you're doing big things and everything is awesome and you have new ideas and you have new, I mean, if you notice, a lot of artists will post stuff from the past to remind you of what they did before because it can get exhausting having to constantly put out new ideas, new wins. And here's the kicker too. Nobody cares about what you did last month. What are you doing now?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's universal. That's not just to the indie artists. Look at how many big artists, like you got people like Jay-Z. Artists like Jay-Z, you have people on the internet talking bad about Jay-Z. Do you know how crazy that is? How insane that is to talk about Jay-Z in any way, shape, or form when it comes to rap. That is insanity. You are downplaying a billionaire who is one of the most iconic artists of all time. If that person gets scrutinized for not being relevant anymore, then what do you think every single person rapping in the world and experience? Rap fans are the worst. We are our fans are the worst. We are the only genre. I'll say singing too to a degree, but mostly rap. Rap is the only genre of music where you can't be too old or it's not cool anymore. You got people that play rock music touring until they die. You know what I just read yesterday? Frankie Valli. That dude is 92 years old. Frankie Valli is 92 years old, and he was touring right now. And he's taking a break from touring to focus on his health at 92 years old. But don't let you be 40 years old rapping. No, if you're 40 years old on a rap, are you stupid? You know, what's wrong with you? Go get a job, get over it. It's too late. You didn't make it. Rap fans suck. You could put that out there. Rap fans are they're the most pathetic, quick to jump from bandwagon to bandwagon. Like there's no loyalty in rap. And that's why like I don't allow social media to control anything. I put things out because I want to put things out, but I could care less about anyone's thought about how much or how little I'm doing because I could be Jay-Z and still somehow get criticized. It's insanity. I could be a Drake and get criticized. The dude has put out more hit singles as a rapper than most rappers can ever get a dream of, and it's still not enough. So the answer to that is yes, there's way too much pressure because nothing is ever enough, and there's always a problem. Every other genre is different, but when it comes to rap specifically, dude, this guy is 92 years old and he's taking a break from touring. Let you be 92 and try to rap. Are you crazy? They will throw wheelchairs at you. There's no way. It's impossible. That would never happen. You would never see a 92-year-old rapper on stage. Our genre is very different. And it's very unfortunate. And I feel bad for rappers, man, because if you're not in a space where you're making money doing what you love and you give up, it's like, don't give up, man. Keep going. Do it for the fun. Do it for the love because don't allow the world to take away your joy. The world's very good at that. And fans who can't do what you do will tell you you're bad, but they don't have the courage themselves to do what you're trying to do. That's the irony of that. The critics have the most to say, but the least amount of skill, least amount of drive.
Right. Right. Also known as keyboard warriors. Somebody's going to hide
Yeah.
behind a screen and just trash you all day and all night. But that same person won't get out there and at least try to do what you're doing. but they can tell you how
Correct.
bad you are at what you're doing.
Correct. They know all the answers. They're watching the boxing fights. You should throw the jab. That guy should throw the hook. Why don't you go outside and punch for 1 minute and see what happens? You can't even do that. You'll probably pass out from lack of from lack of oxygen. But you want to tell the elite boxer who boxes since they were 10 years old how to box. It's the world we live in, man. Everyone, you know, everyone's a critic, and that's why you will never see me ever on social media criticize someone. I don't do that. I'm not gonna say you suck. Never gonna do that because that's not my place to do that. I might not like it, but I'm not gonna take the time to invest in downplaying you. If I'm gonna write anything, which I don't do this, but if I was gonna say anything, it'd be private and it would only be to help you get better. But I don't like doing that because people don't want to hear that unless they ask for it. So
But
yeah, man. Even if I'm really good at something, I keep my thoughts to myself because I respect people's effort. But that's just me. That's not a popular perspective to have these days.
well, do you think that a lot of indie artists wouldn't even accept constructive criticism because they're under so much pressure from the art world as well as maybe family pressure, job pressure, and they're giving it everything they got. But to hear someone say, well, it's okay, but do you think that
Yeah.
that's something indie artists struggle with nowadays?
I've been on both sides of it. So what I would say is one of the reasons I get picked to judge producer battles, rap battles, performance things is because I'm pretty good at approaching things in a way that people will be open to listening to me. Like I'm not gonna say, Chris, your podcast ability is garbage and you suck and you should find a better way to spend your time. I would always say one thing that I feel is good about it. I would share without saying the word but. It's like sales. I would share another perspective on what they did that I feel could help. And then I would end the feedback going back to something positive and what I appreciated about what they did. I have seen artists who on stage are talking about killing this and killing that and murder this and murder that and all this. Like they look like super unapproachable. And then when I speak to them, they become a completely different person. Because the key word is person. They're a person, they're a human, and humans have emotions and feelings. The artists are very emotional about what they do. This is their art, this is their life. So I would say, yeah, the possibility of an artist not being too receptive is there, but I think that's in anything that has to do with passion. So I would lean not on the artist to be more receptive. I will look at it as if you're going to give somebody criticism, try to do it in a way that you would want it done for yourself. Now, should the artist be able to take any kind of criticism and feedback? Yeah. I mean, I've been told some crazy things, in my career, especially from people that I idolize, right? And there was no blanket positivity. It's like, yo, this is what it is. This is what it is. And I'm just like, okay, I hear you, whether I agree or not. So, because you have to be humble enough to take the feedback. But the thing is, if you want someone to take your feedback, you have to deliver it in a way that makes sense. And that's a universal concept. Imagine you have a job and your boss is a jerk. And every morning there's a meeting and they're telling you how much you suck. You know what I mean? Like it's a universal concept. It extends way beyond art. It's about people. That person who's a manager is probably not going to get good results out of the team that they keep saying sucks. But the person that says, "Hey, man, I know we're trying our hardest and we're doing the best that we can. I have some ideas. that I feel can improve our situation. What do you guys think? That is way more productive than telling somebody you suck. In my opinion, constructive criticism versus being rude or disrespectful is very simple. A rude person says, you suck. A constructive criticism is, hey, I see you doing your thing. I have a thought that might make it even better. What do you say? But that requires emotional intelligence, which is a whole nother conversation. A lot of people don't have that. They don't have it in person, and they sure as hell don't have it on the internet. They can barely talk in person, so they're 10 times worse writing and messaging. They have no sense of tone and how things come off and how to avoid certain grammatical things to make it not look aggressive. And even the simple concept of not writing ellipses at the end of your sentence escapes most people. Most people think that if you write a sentence and you end it with dot 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 dot, that there's something wrong with that. When you end your sentence with dot 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 dot, that implies something, and most people don't understand that. So we have to work on our communication as a whole in general. But yeah, when it comes to art, they don't care, Chris. Hey, you suck. He's got to deal with it, which it can make you a better person, but I would rather not do that. I'd rather say, hey, man, song was cool. Like how you were flowing. You know, I feel like if you add a couple of metaphors here and there, or if you structure the flow a little bit differently, or if you change your tone when you're rhyming, it kind of creates more of a moment. If you look at the crowd and you use your eyes to engage with people, they're going to be more engaged with what you're talking about. If you have, more confidence by being upright and not looking down while you're performing, looking up at the crowd, they're going to want to hear you more. If you take your vocals off the track, so when you perform, it has a better receptive, right? A better reception. It's going to sound better. You're going to sound better, right? When I talk like that, people listen to me most of the time because I'm not telling you you suck. I'm giving you feedback that's going to help you grow. And who am I to tell you you suck? It's a very wild concept for my brain to understand. For people to go around telling people who's good and who isn't, especially when you don't do the thing that you're critiquing.
I agree. I agree. Well, we're kind of up against the clock for real on this episode.
For sure.
It's early June 2026. What can people expect from you in the near future?
There's a video EP coming out in the extremely near future. My boy Orange produced all the tracks. Every song has a video. That'll be on social media. We've put out 2 videos so far. And we are doing an event in Orlando to release the project. Also, that's going to be about 7 videos right there in total. There's another video coming out called The Way, produced by my boy Sean Don. That's going to be about what I was talking about earlier, about my perception on life and things like that. Another song is about to come out featuring myself, Gatzilla, and Lottie Boom. It's going to be about love and just good vibes and super sensual, dope, neo soul kind of a joint. So a lot of music is coming out. A lot's coming out in the extremely near future. The DJing is getting bigger and bigger, so you're gonna see me DJing in more spaces. It's been a real cool thing. The writing, I want to work on and finish my second book, so I'm hoping by the end of next year I could have that ready. But we'll see how life, treats me in that nature. Acting. There's a series that we just finished shooting the first 3 episodes. We have 3 more to go. I'm the star actor of it. I'm the lead. It's called The Hunted. It's going to be a 6-episode series. Don't know if that's going to come out next year, but we're looking to finish recording it before next year is done. I don't know if I'm forgetting something, but that's the problem, Chris, when you do different things. I'll get off this interview. Oh, I forgot to say that. I forgot to say that, right? But yeah, just keep him busy. Keep him busy and just trying to be the best version of myself, trying to get better at everything, trying to continuously grow with the writing and the music and the freestyling and everything, no matter where you're at, you want to get better and better and better. Oh, again, speaking of freestyle, there's a show that me and my boy Matt Ills are doing called Battle Bros, where we freestyle rap and we battle each other the whole time. We done a couple of shows. We performed at a Red Bull event, done a couple of the other events as well. So now we're taking that to a higher level with merchandise and making it a game show. There's a lot, man. And I'm gonna forget a few things when we get off here, but yeah, you can definitely see all of that. You can follow me at SB The Anomoly. That's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever that's called, Snapchat, even though I don't really use it, but all my platforms are SB The Anomoly. SBTHE Anomaly with two O's. Anomaly with two O's. People always spell it wrong by spelling it right. They do Anomaly. That's the right way to spell it. But I don't spell it the right way. I spell it the wrong way to make it my own. And I like the way the two O's look in the word anomaly. So that's how I do that. People always spell my name right, but they're doing it wrong by doing that. But SBTheanomaly.com for merchandise and all type of stuff. And yeah, man, I also have an interview that I just got done for me, a write-up that should be coming out real soon. And I'm also gonna be doing a song with a guy named Cool Keith, an OG artist from back in the day, produced by my boy J Mob. So just a few things that's coming to my head as I'm talking to you right now.
Okay.
That's about to come out.
You got a full calendar, to say the least. So I'll let you get back to it. But as usual, I have one question that I always like to ask at the end of my interview. If What are two questions when it comes to DJing, being a published author or a music artist? What are two questions that you wished I would have asked that I didn't? And what are the answers to those questions?
Or DJing, I would say the question could have been, why do you think, your career as a DJ is moving in the trajectory that it's going? Like, why are you getting all these gigs? What makes you quote unquote good at it? And the answer would be number one, I have a lot of people that really rock with me and hold me down, and they book me for different things outside of my own personal bookings. So your network is very important. And I would say the reason I'm doing good as a DJ, from what I can see, is that I have the ability to read a room and I'm very comfortable talking on the microphone, which is the reason I think my boy recruited me because he knew I was good at rapping and speaking. And, I can talk in any room, children, adults, rich people, not rich people. It doesn't really matter where I'm at. The other question I would say is, mm, I would say maybe what is the hardest part about being a writer? Like what's the most difficult aspect of writing a book or putting work together as a writer? And I would say the answer to that question is to not be so judgmental of yourself and accept the fact that no matter how good you become, there will always be someone that says you're horrible. Like you can't write to save your life. You don't know what you're doing. You're trash. You're garbage. Doesn't matter who endorses you, who co-signs you, where you travel in the world, what you accomplish. Because again, look at major artists of these days. We go look at major actors. People will say this person sucks. I mean, that person is a millionaire off what they do. But yeah, I hear you. What do you do again? Oh, okay. Yeah, you're definitely qualified to speak on who's not, but that's the thing. Social media has given a voice to everybody. And I don't know if that's a good thing, honestly. I think that some people should just listen more. I mean, you do have two ears and one mouth, right? You should and usually listen more than you speak, but uh, you know, understanding that no matter how good you are in anything, people are going to say you suck. Someone's going to say that. Someone's going to say you're not good. Somebody would say Michael Jordan was overrated. Someone's going to say that. Someone's going to say Babe Ruth wasn't a good hitter. Someone's going to say Mike Tyson didn't punch correctly. I mean, there's always someone that has something to say about everything. It's not about what they say. It's about what you say. Give yourself more credit.
Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for making it to this part of the episode. If you enjoyed the video, if you'll leave me a like and a comment below. If you didn't enjoy the video, if you'll leave me a comment below and let me know why. And then if anybody has any questions they would like me to ask SB next time we have an interview, which I already have plenty, by the way. But I can add more to it
Awesome.
if you leave me a comment below, and I'll make sure and get those on the show. All right, Mr. SB. Cheers.
Yes, sir. Cheers, my good man.
Yeah, I know life is hard. It'll give you all type of scars on your mind and on your heart. Gotta find the light inside the dark. You were born with a purpose. Just keep on searching. It'll be okay. Take it day by day. I swear it's worth it. And it won't be perfect. Nah, but it will be yours.